Welcome back, fellas. Today I would like to dive back again into the synthetics token because we've got some news regarding this token and its ecosystem and the perspectives rising up again on it. And let's look at them. If you remember my previous video where I discussed the SNX chart and the SNX ecosystem and other altcoins, low caps that I am looking into, that belong to this ecosystem too. I was mentioning that SNX is only for mostly for those people who are looking for some reliable assets, fundamental assets, and they are not hunting for an excessive profit and returns during the next rising cycle, during the next ascending phase. But because, as we can see, this is the parabolic formation, we've had already a nice ride on this one. If we take it from the point when we have this accumulation range that took for almost 2 years, and we marked 19,000% from that, and that is already a good run. And of course, after we mark, usually after we have such an incredible rally, we do not have another rally again during the next cycle. As we can see, the same example is Filecoin and the others that pushed so hard during the previous cycle. But this time we also, our primary targets here were somewhere $14-16 during the next cycle, because at least and we were not thinking about synthetics marking even its all-time high, and we were not talking about it breaking its all-time high and finding another all-time high, because usually these kind of assets that ran too high during the previous cycle, they during the next cycle they are only marking the high lower high, meaning we're doing something like this and we are ending the cycle retesting, and maybe in a few years after that we will make the new all-time high, but we don't know it yet. But there are some reasons to consider that synthetics might be an exception right here. Why? Because first of all, let's look at the chart again. And I was mentioning that we are marking this global trend line again that lasts from the very beginning of this accumulation range. And these two trend lines, they are our targets to understand where we will have to our basic and major reversal points, where we will be able to short or sell and reaccumulate lower. This is good. These are good ones to have because they react perfectly most of the time, and usually they even mark the cycle's all-time high. That is why they are so important. And based on these trend lines, I marked my next cycle's target here, and with the addition of the occasion cent shift of $14-16 as the primary target for the take profit or selling. But we don't know it, and I think it is going to reach it sooner or later, and we will have some pullbacks upon those levels, but that doesn't mean that it is going to end up like this. Why? Let's look at the fundamentals first. And recently we had the news that the Grayscale fund added synthetics into its DeFi fund. And if you don't know it yet, you didn't watch my previous videos, or you didn't read my Twitter account, I mentioned that the history shows us that when Grayscale adds some or creates a separate fund or adds some crypto coin into some some fund that consists of several coins, like here the DeFi fund. Um, these coins during the next cycle, they outperformed the others, they outrun the others. So definitely the sign that synthetics was added here, I was expecting that Grayscale is going to add, for example, near this time, during this bear market. So in the next cycle's bull run, it is going to outperform, but we haven't seen that yet. Maybe they will add it later, but we don't know it yet. But from the history, from my experience, I know that when Grayscale created the Ethereum Filecoin fund, these assets started the huge accumulation zones and ranges, and then they started to skyrocket. And the same was with the Polkadot, Solana, and other DeFi projects. As you can see, all of them are here: Aave, Uniswap, Compound, Maker, and the new ones here are Curve and Synthetics. And all of the old ones, they had an impressive run during the 2021 bull run, and super cycles ascending phase. So, and you will ask me, well, we already had one run here and we are not able to make another one like this. And I would say there is still exists this kind of possibility, especially when the Grayscale added it, and this is a huge fundamental news. And the Synthetics, they created the new they are going to release the new V3 update that is going to increase the demand and the interest of the investors to buy SNX token and put it into to mint with it the SUSD, and to pull it into liquidity pools and create the liquidity, provide the liquidity. That is why, and with high rewards. It is this kind of the same situation like with the Curve, that they already started to pump on this kind of news, on the liquidity provision news. So Synthetics is going to create the same. Also, they are expanding their ecosystems. All of their low cap assets that I mentioned in my previous video, they are going to create their own ecosystems too, on top of the Synthetics. And also Synthetics is integrating with other chains right now, and especially they are integrating and they are very active with the Optimism ecosystem. And on Optimism ecosystem, they are doing great. And one of their projects, as you can see, we already mentioned it in our previous video, that Synthetics ecosystem is expanding. They already launched the Quanta perpetual trading platform, where you create the simulated liquidity and trade any types of assets. The Thales, and of course Lyra, the one of my favorites that I mentioned before, and I bought it at 8 cents. It already almost made 100% profit, and they are expanding to, not only they were using the Optimism network, and now they are expanding to the Arbitrum, and they are creating the possibility to integrate Lyra into any DAX or even SAX, and or integrate it into the GMX and other Arbitrum related platforms. So it is going to be on fire. And Lyra created a lot of projects that are going to provide the liquidity and vitality of this protocol and their platform. They are going to support each other. And as you can see, Synthetics also dealing with many other top ecosystems of this of the blockchain industry here and the liquidity providing platforms and ecosystems. That is why it is worth having synthetics in your portfolio for the next cycle. I think so. These are great updates, the news, and they are promising. And let's look at where I am going to. If you didn't buy it, personally, frankly, being frank with you guys, I didn't buy it, and you know it from my Twitter account if you follow me. I didn't buy it. Why? Because first of all, I was kind of we were coming for this retest of this global trend line, and based on my strategy that I shared and was teaching you all this 2021 2022, we should buy at least spot on this kind of global trend line supports because they react perfectly. As you can see here, we reacted here. When we lost, we held it once, then pump, broke it, retested, reversal, support, held. Then we are pumping precisely, we are finding resistance, then we are dumping, losing, finding support, finding resistance here. It is going level by level. If you trade according to these global trend lines, they are working just perfect until, of course, we are marking the real bottom and we start to build this accumulation range here as we have it here. So we are not precisely at this moment know how it is going to be built, but I think we already can build the range lines to understand how it is going to be. Yeah, everybody can do that by its own and find the mid here and find the resistance spots here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to assume where it is going to be a good place to buy. First of all, why I didn't buy it, although I was following it, because we had this, if we zoom in, we have this unpleasant spilling candle here that was kind of a prolonged and aggressive, and usually after that we have the continuation, even if not immediately. We still have this continuation, and I was expecting that after we retest this local counter trend line, we are going to lose this and we are going to at least 90 cents or $1. I had my orders there, and that would make sense. This is the spot where we broke from the 2-year long accumulation phase, and for that reason I didn't buy it, although I wanted it. Even when Bitcoin started to pump, I was thinking to buy it, and I think I did a mistake that I didn't, because the Bitcoin was approaching $18,200, $18,300 important resistant level, and I wasn't sure whether we are going to break it at that time or whether we are going to get significantly rejecting upon that level. That is why I didn't buy synthetics then. Of course, after we broke it, it was kind of already too late for me, so I was dealing with some other assets that were falling behind, and I was able to buy them for good prices. But I didn't forget about the synthetics and was following it since. So what we have right now, I expect we either go, let's turn on our Kijun and shift, and we have super trend. Okay, we have this range resistance line. So we either, if Bitcoin continues to go for $25,000, which is, I guess, in my opinion, is at the moment 40% chance, because I think there is possibility that Bitcoin is going to, it is not guaranteed, of course. We have to see how the weekly, this weekly closes first, but there is the possibility that Bitcoin is going to further retest of its 2017 all-time high, somewhere to 20,000, 19,500, 19,300, somewhere there, and we'll find some support right there, retest, and then gets back up. But no guarantee here. There is if Bitcoin continues to go higher to 24, 25, or straight to $28,000, then logically we can see that Synthetics is going to go into this resistance zone around $4, and I think here we are going to have the reversal. 100% we are going to have some kind of reversal if we get there, but that is like I guess 40% chance for me at this moment. My primary scenario at this moment is that we either start reversing right here and drawing some kind of pullback, depending how this weekly is going to close, and this pullback would be somewhere in the, of course I think we can go up to $2, but I would like to retest this zone around 162, 180. That would be a great spot to buy, and I think if we touch this global trend line, we will feel the resistance and the price will react. So it would be, if you place your spot orders in that zone, you will feel the reaction, and then we will decide whether we are going higher from that, and it will depend all on Bitcoin, of course, or we are going to lose it. But the chances of losing it right now are very low, in my opinion. But of course, if we lose it and start closing below this global trend line, then of course we have, upon this rejection, it is the sign that we are going to 90 cents at least. But I think the chances of that are less than 10% right now, in my opinion. So it would be very clear invalidation point if we dive under this global trend line. And but buying it at this, if we retest this global trend line, is a great spot for me to buy. Then we are starting to do something like this, and if we continue to go up, we will find the perfect place for the rejection, and that would be, depending how the price is going to go, at this spot I would 100% sell my SNX and wait for it to at least to get back here to rebuy, or see some pullback and reversal and be back and rebuy somewhere here. So definitely this price action and these trend lines, they are very useful because they will provide you with the clear zones where you have to sell and where you have to buy. And thus if we will have come to this kind of retest within within 162, $2, if you buy it here, and then you will have great chance to sell it higher upon the global trend line resistance and reaccumulate, meaning with that profit that you made from this run, you will be able to buy more synthetic tokens. And we cannot long SNX as a margin at this moment, of course, but we can this way we can increase our SNX backs, and I think it is worth it, because if SNX is building this kind of important and great ecosystem right now, and the liquidity ecosystem and the options ecosystem for Optimism and even Arbitrum through Lira at this point, definitely, and the fact that Grayscale added it to their fund, and the size of per share of Synthetics in their DeFi fund is not small, because compared even with the most popular curve is only 6.72%, and synthetics is almost of the size of the maker here. So definitely the big guys are seeing something promising in SNX, and they believe in it. So that is why I think the thing that we were expecting, that synthetics is only able to retest and make during the next cycle, make only the lower high here. I think these assumptions may be exaggerated, and actually synthetics can show itself. First of all, because the supply, if the demand comes, and there are a lot of reasons that I mentioned to believe that the demand will come here. The supply is very low, and with this kind of supply of 312 synthetics tokens max, we can run as high as we can go. And if you will look at the Ethereum history, let's look at the Ethereum. This chart kind of reminds me of Ethereum too. Maybe I'm making this up, but look at it. We did right the same. We had this global trend line, we had this run. Again, let's look at the gains here. It is I took too low, I guess. Let's take from the accumulation zone where we took off. We made 3,000%. So if we resize it and take it a little bit lower, we will have kind of 12,000%, almost the same as we had on synthetics, the run that we had from the 2-year long accumulation range. And now we are descending the way that we did here. So, and we already found this the lowest possible global trend line here, and if it proves to be the support, the final support, then probably within the next year and a half, we are going to be in the massive accumulation range up to, I guess, let's look at it, up to $6.5. We are going to slide within it, and then we will retest that global trend line, or maybe even break it temporarily for some time, and then reaccumulate it. Then we will be able to have some kind of another run. I'm not telling that it is going to be as big as the Ethereum had, because we cannot compare Ethereum to SNX at this moment, but we can have something. Actually, we can have something, and if we look at it, we can have some ride, but it will take, I guess, more time. But definitely it is worth. It can provide, if we buy for $172, we can make more than 10x here, and maybe at that time we already be able to long it using SNX as margin or something like that. So definitely SNX is one to watch and one to have in your portfolio, and one to stake or provide liquidity with high rewards. So do as you like. It is only an educative informational video. I'm providing you the news about the synthetics addition to the grayscale fund, and usually it means something. So take care, guys. Goodbye.